You guys, I love this song so much. Welcome back to The Way with Jazz and Tay. It's your girl Jazz and
Shantaé.
Before the break, we did a brief intro kind of our guest, as well as played Name That Tune. And Coco performed well. She got 8 out of 10. She's up there with our top runners. Shouts out to you. Now we're going to go ahead and get into our review of the week, which is going to be of Insecure. As you guys know, we've been watching it, giving you guys a weekly rundown as best as we can. It is the last season. It is the final season. I know. And they're doing a really good job. I feel like I feel like there's a lot going on. There's a lot to tie in here. And I think she's doing a good job at right now kind of giving everybody what they need to put everything together in the last few episodes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyways, we're gonna go ahead and get into a review. The last episode, because we actually haven't talked to you guys about it in 2 weeks. It's been a minute for us. But the last episode was actually more of a Lawrence episode. We did not see Issa at all. We didn't see any of the girls.
Yeah.
Other than
Except
Candola.
for
Right.
Condola's rice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we only got to see her and the baby, which the baby's adorable. And it was just basically, Lawrence had the baby, and it kind of showed how they were trying to make this co-parenting thing work and what that looks like. Yeah. And then this week's episode was back on Issa, and we kind of followed up on how we left her and Nathan, that awkward exchange that they had where she cried all up in his mouth. And then we also in this episode touched on mental health and kind of like what was going on with Nathan, which the timing I feel like is impeccable. It's November, it's Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, so talking about this and releasing it, especially with men of color, is very important, so let's go ahead and jump into it now that we've given everybody kind of the 411 on what's been going on. Let's get into Lawrence and Candola. Are they getting back together or not?
They are not.
Definitely not.
We're positive at this point.
They might kill each other.
I think they're going to work it out where they can co-parent, but as far as them being together, no.
Okay.
They're really volatile, together.
Yeah.
And that's even something that I noticed from last season, even their breakup. And even now, it's everything's good. They're really good at being surface level, everything's fine. And then something goes wrong and he's completely out of character. She's completely out of character. And I'm y'all don't mix at all.
That's the thing. It's certain people in certain instances that take you out of character. And I think once Candola had told him she wasn't trying to be in a relationship, she was just having fun, it had just put him in the mind frame of, okay, it is what it is, we done. And then when she decided she was gonna have the baby, it's okay, so you just gonna turn my life upside down.
Right.
I didn't even think about that.
Even though she gave him the option to be you don't have to be involved, but I mean, any good person, whether a man wants to be involved or not, if you tell them, hey, we having a baby, they might not like it, but they gonna step up and do what they have to do.
And I feel like Lawrence is that kind of guy. For her to even give him that option to be not non-present, I was that's not even his style. Come on. What are you talking about, Candola? I don't like her. I've got to be honest.
Really? We're
I really don't.
I know we joke and say all this stuff, about her name and just because of the whole Lawrence and Issa situation.
Yeah.
But her as a person, you don't care for her?
After that last week's episode, I really didn't like her because she was very much she wanted to be that struggling single mom, and she wanted to be you're not doing enough and you just come and go when you want. And I'm okay. But you already knew he was going to be living in San Fran.
Right. And also
he's making it work the best that he can.
Right. And also you decided to have this baby.
And anytime he says, hey, can I hold this? Can I have the baby? You're I don't know. Because you're having obviously that's a new mom, but it's he's trying to be there and you're not allowing him to be.
In their blow up argument, I tried to side with her when she's you only be here when you want to be here. Right. But what it comes down to is I feel if she really gave gave him an opportunity to
that part,
he would be there more. Like he's offered to be like, can I take the baby for a day, overnight? And she's like, no. So it's just like, you really trying to perpetuate this single mom.
Yeah. And play that narrative.
That part that really like messed me up there was the fact that, you know, she said yes. He made all this effort to get out there and then showed up and then all of a sudden was like, you know what? Actually, no, I don't trust you. I don't trust you. And like, how can you say that? What reason has he given you to not trust him with this baby?
Right.
Like,
and especially if you're like, he's wanting to be at the doctor's appointments, you baptism. Know, like feeding the baby, the whatever he gave the food. And the doctor said, we can start introducing things, you know, and it's just like, versus her being like, we should have talked about this prior to, or, you know,
like a normal person.
Right. She just went straight into, no, don't give my baby food. Like, girl,
like their baby.
Yeah, that part. Also, she did keep saying mine too. That's the other thing. She really did.
Yeah.
Also, like with the whole baptism thing and how she had that whole thing planned and wasn't going to tell him at all.
Yeah.
And I'm like, girl, what is wrong with you? Like, you just assumed he doesn't want to be there.
Well, like, what about like, what if, not to say that, you know, he's not obviously religious or whatever, but like, what if that was an issue or like a conversation? Like, you know what I mean? What if he was something else, maybe like Jewish or Muslim or something? Like, you know what I mean? And you're going to go and get our baby baptized and not tell me?
We don't move our lives in religious ways. A lot of us grew up in a church or having some type of religious foundation. And his mother, whoever she was like, oh, we gonna take this baby and get him dipped for real. You know, and it's just like, you didn't, like you said, they didn't give him an opportunity to input as to what kind of baptism they would have. If he had a church that he would have liked to go to, if he wanted his pastor to be involved. So there's
a lot that goes into that. She took all that away from him.
Yeah. And then like she was like, oh, my sister's going to send you an invite. I thought she did it. Like, that's your job. That's your baby's father. Send him a text message at the minimum. Like, what is that even? Like, oh, I'm going to pass it off to somebody who already has their mind made up. They don't like you. Yeah. So because of me biasing them to you, like, I don't
never having met, you know,
I don't like Candola. Like, I don't.
I'm right there with you. The one thing that I wanted to say that, you know, if we got on live last week, I would have said it then, but they did a really good job at making Candola look tired and not very well rested.
Well, you know, she just had a baby in real life.
Is that her real baby?
No, it's not her real.
Okay.
She just have a baby. So she's not the tumultuous part of it.
Right.
This life right now.
But I mean, like, you know, they definitely did their thing with like, you know, the clothing and makeup kind of thing. Like, you know, they did a really good job at like kind of showing just how like tiring and how draining it can be. Like, she looked rough. Even when they were like out and about, like when they went to that birthday party, she did her best at that time, you know, and I was like, damn girl, I'm so sorry.
And I think that's another point to bring up, is that like they even tried to show that contrast of like Lawrence single by himself and then her struggling to like hold it all together. And it's like, that is another point for me. It's like, you're literally struggling. You need help. You need support. You don't seem to have it in the way that you need.
But you're being prideful.
But you're pushing him. But you're pushing him away when he's trying to be that support.
Right.
That's crazy to me. Like, I can't with her. I don't like her.
And she was all like, what happened to keep me posted?
Right.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and transition into this week's episode. Let's touch base on, you know, this failed beach party, that, you know, the earthquake that happened and all this stuff. Issa and Nate officially, you know, I guess kind of decided that they would, you know, do the dang thing rather than just be exclusively friends, you know, whatever. Right. How do we feel about that? Like, do you think it's going to be awkward trying to make that transition for them? Or like, I mean, because they've hooked up before, right? They've done.
I'm really impartial to their relationship. I feel like if it works, cool. If it doesn't, cool. They tried.
Do you think they'll still be friends after though? Like if this doesn't work out, do you think they could be friends afterwards?
I think it depends on the circumstances of the breakup. I think if they feel like, okay, we tried it, we not clicking or gelling like we thought we would, I think they could be amicable and be friends. But if something happens unexpectedly, you know, I think it could be like, okay, nah, we ain't friends.
Yeah,
I could see that. Okay, I could see that. Like, depending on the situation, for sure. For sure.
Well, because like I even posed a question. Lawrence is coming back to LA, and that's gonna shake everything up for Issa. And so I'm thinking, like, I'm already weary of them getting together, Issa and Nate, because for me, it's like I either want them to be together because I think that they work. Like, I think that they've got a really great friendship that could translate to romance, but I also think that they have a great friendship. So it's like either do the romance thing and go all out, or just be friends and stay friends, because when things go bad with them, then they lose each other as friends, and like they always miss that part of it. And I just know if Lawrence comes in, Issa's gonna act a plum fool because she doesn't know how to act when Lawrence is around. And she's gonna break Nate's heart, and I just don't want that.
Oh, I know. Well, that's the thing. It's like, because, you know, she was still so in love with him when she decided to break up with him, you know?
Yeah.
So it's not like those feelings are just gone, as we saw, because, you know, she just cried in his mouth, like, you know? So definitely having him around and back in their faces, ooh, that's gonna be so hard.
I want to say, as much, I don't know, this Condoleezza situation, and especially how they broke up the last time, like, I get it, she's super in love with him, but, you know, just his situation is not conducive to her lifestyle. Like, Issa don't give me stepmom vibes
at all.
You know what I'm saying? So I feel like for that reason alone, they won't get back together. Now, will it be awkward? Their interactions, yes. But, and I would really be surprised if they got back together.
I think they are. I really do think they are going to get back together. And I feel like somehow along the way, her and Candola's friendship are going to get repaired. Issa's just awkward.
It would have to.
Like Shantae's face, she was like, no.
I don't stand that at all.
She doesn't like Candola.
I think canola oil and Issa. And it's gonna take some time to get there.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly and truly, Issa didn't do anything wrong during that time frame that him and Condoleezza were together. So it's just a matter of them being like, okay, we in this situation, let's be adults.
Exactly. Let's talk about this mental health conversation and how he finally like had the conversation with his cousin about what happened when he got asked to move out, and that he realized that it had to do with, like, you know, his cousin rather than like his cousin's girl, or was that his wife or something? His wife. Sorry. Yes. Let's talk about that, and, like, you know, the importance of maybe talking about mental health and addressing that, because Nate was in the dark the whole time, and, you know, that's just kind of how he perceived the situation at first is now completely changed, and it definitely messed with him. You could tell.
Yeah. And, like, well, he said, like, he just said that he was, like, kind of being reckless, like he was coming and going, and, like, he didn't want that around his kids, but, like, he doesn't know that he has bipolar disorder.
Right.
And that he was manic at the time that he was living with him. And Nate also didn't at that time decide to tell him, like, this is what was going on with me. And so I kind of pulled this out because I wanted to know, like, it was interesting to see that dynamic because it feels indicative of, like, the Black community when it comes to mental health. It's like, oh, I've got this family member that really has nowhere to go, you know, and who knows what they're dealing with, but, like, you know, when things aren't really working, like, for me or my lifestyle, and, like, I understand that you have to protect your home, your family, and your peace, but it doesn't seem like there was even a conversation had or any form of, like, hey, bruh, like, what's going on with you? You got to figure something else. You got to figure something out, or you got to go. Like, it's got to be one or the two. And it really, like, weighed on Nate. Like, he almost ran away again. Like, they called him a light-skinned leaf. But like, I was like, what does that even mean? And I felt
attacked. I felt attacked. Are you serious?
Am I only?
Right.
Go with the wind, but they had to throw in the light skin.
That part.
But yeah, like I just thought that was very interesting because I feel like, do you guys think his cousin would have felt any different had he known he was manic or known what he was actually dealing with at that time?
Oh, for sure.
I do think he would have treated the situation differently, but it's also one of those situations, if you're not open to the idea of mental health or realizing like people have those type of issues, you're not gonna understand. You're just gonna look at them as a flawed and fractured individual.
Yeah, that's
like,
very true.
Something wrong with him. He ain't got it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think do you foresee Nate having that conversation with him soon? And do you like, I don't know, like I'm kind of thinking like, how will it be received? Like,
I think the conversation is going to happen because what other place does his cousin have in the show?
Right. Why else would you bring him in?
And especially like, because he didn't really say like, I got bipolar disorder, or he just said, I was messed up at the time. So his cousins still don't know that he has bipolar disorder. You know what I'm saying? So he's gonna come back up and it's gonna be a topic of discussion.
Mm-hmm. I do think it would be, I think it would be well received. And I do think he'd probably have some compassion for him just based off of how he even addressed, this situation. And I do feel like it needs to be like in private, like I'm glad that wifey wasn't around.
Yeah. when they first came up and you could see there was like some, I was thinking like, I thought he put him out because they done slept together.
See, and that's the vibes that I was first getting. That's what I first thought too. Something like that. Oh man.
I'm definitely excited to see how that conversation ends up going, and like just to see how the show decides to frame that conversation. And like I want to know, like, how did Nate come to find out he was even bipolar? Like, did he go to therapy? Did he go see a doctor? And like just showing the viewers, like, it's okay to go and seek out help.
Well, when he said he went to, like when he popped back on the scene, he did say he had to go back to Houston to handle his situation. So I think that's when he got diagnosed.
So like, what does that mean? Like, I'm thinking rehab, but that doesn't sound right to me.
It could have been like a facility, maybe something happened and he had to get like admitted.
Patient care kind of thing.
And then had to finish tying, things up there related to that. Maybe we'll find out.
See, so I'm excited hopefully we'll find out how they handle that. And just, I don't know, just I want them to shine a spotlight on that and having that conversation with your family and just in general, like having that conversation, because a lot of people in the Black community everybody deals with mental health issues, and I think that it needs to stop being one of those taboo things, and it needs to be addressed. Like, that's the only way it gets better.
For sure.
Sis.
But I want to save some time for our hot topic. So we're going to go ahead and jump into another quick break. Stay tuned. You guys are listening to The Way with Jazz and Tay.
You give me homie one and only, let's give it.
Hey friends.
Hey y'all.
For those who don't know us, we are Jasmine and Shantaé,
hosts of the weekly podcast and radio show, The Way with Jazz and Tay.
In our show, we like to bring lots of laughs, sass, and opinions to get you ready for the day and the weekend ahead.
You can listen to us anywhere you stream your podcasts. That's right, you can stream us anywhere. Apple, Google, Spotify, literally anywhere.
And for more weekly updates, TikToks, and other shenanigans, follow us on Instagram at The Way Jazz and Tay and on Twitter at The Way JT.
And you can check us out on our website, thewayjtpod.com. Again, that's thewayjtpod.com to give us suggestions or learn more about advertising and sponsorship opportunities.
Until next time, bye.
Peace.